Are you ready to find out what are the 10 admin tasks within your business that you probably should have delegated to an assistant months ago? In this video, I'm going to dive through the top 10 common admin tasks that a lot of business owners get stuck at doing themselves, even though this should have been delegated to an assistant long ago. Now, as we're diving into this list, the first shift that you need to think of is instead of thinking of delegating tasks, you're delegating outcomes. So what that means is instead of saying like, hey, I'm giving you this task of creating social media posts for my business, I'm going to delegate the outcome of making sure I stay consistent on social media. So it's shifting it from just thinking of it as a task to an actual outcome, basically, that you can measure, that you can see, that your assistant can basically work towards. And that is the biggest shift when it comes to thinking of hiring a virtual assistant versus an executive assistant. Is a virtual assistant is focused on those tasks of making sure things get done, versus executive assistants are really focused more on the outcomes within your business. The first on that list is email management, or basically making sure that the inbox is clear and the replies are handled. It's basically the process of having your executive assistant go through your emails and have kind of a few things that they're doing with it, rather than just like, okay, making sure that the inbox is seen and things are like taken care of. It's making sure that they mark things that are priority that only you can respond to, making sure to respond to the things that they can, unsubscribing to the things that you don't have to really look at, or maybe you bought a course a bajillion years ago, you just never unsubscribe from their newsletter, or from filtering people out who shouldn't be on your inbox in the first place. This could be started off as just you showing them essentially how you clean up your inbox and maybe a few examples of how you want your inbox cleaned. If you're following, inbox zero, or if you're following this person who has this very specific tutorial on how they clean out their inbox, and having your assistant study that and then build out the system for their day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month of what that is supposed to look like. So as an example, for my own assistant, when she starts her day, she goes through my email and she sorts through what are emails from clients, what are emails from opportunities. So if people want to collaborate with me on the YouTube channel, or if there are opportunities for me to speak or do workshops or do go to actual stage speaking engagement, she filters those. And then once we get to the point where we have our daily meeting, is she makes sure that everything else that I don't need to really look over or we've already discussed is replied to, and she basically bumps me on the things that only I can respond to. So either she already wrote out the draft of what this email should look like if I choose to respond, or that she already has some suggestions on how I can respond to this email. So for me, I don't have to look at the 100 emails that I will get through a weekend. I'll only look at one or two basically that I just need to respond to, or I need to make the decision on, mostly because maybe it's something new that my assistant has never tackled before, or something that I personally have a stake at, or something that I said, hey, this is my priority, I want to make sure I'm taking care of this. So again, it starts with that clarity of what are the priorities, how do you want your inbox to be cleaned, and how can they manage it in the best way, versus you seeing 100 emails, you only get to see the 2 or 3 that are critical for you to respond to. Next is calendar management, or outcome-based is basically your time is protected. A lot of times, especially if we are still, as the business owners, the one doing the call or the sales call or discovery call with potential clients, you might get a few things booked in your calendar that you don't really necessarily have to be the one to do, or they're just not a fit. So for my assistant, she makes sure that my time is protected. Other than just being able to have access to my calendar, she helps protect my habits. So if I'm working out, if I said, hey, I have this goal, she makes sure that if there are meetings that have to happen around that time, that anything else around it is moved or shifted or canceled, or that key meeting, if it can be moved to another time. So for example, for me, typically around 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, I am off because I'm going to be working out for the next hour and a half or 2 hours. So if there are clients who have or who want to set an important meeting around those times, again, either I'm alerted ahead of like, hey, your workout might just be like 30 minutes to 45 minutes today because this is an important meeting, or hey, someone wanted to book this time. I know it's usually your workout schedule, so I've gone ahead and actually scheduled it afterwards or before or by tomorrow. So she makes sure that my priorities and my time is protected on the things that really matter to me, and these are things that we've already talked about, versus just being able to look like, hey, there's a conflict, like, oh, I want to make sure that there's no conflict, I want to make sure that this is the right person that you're talking to. Same thing with those discovery calls. If you are one of those people who who go ahead and book a call with me on how to get started with an executive assistant, my assistant sees those first and filters people who aren't a match based off of a set of parameters that we already set, years before now at this point. She knows who an ideal client looks like and who are basically not fitting into that profile, and making sure to send them like, hey, just a heads up, this is why you might not be a match. You might be needing this and this and this. This is probably not going to be a match for 2XU and for what we do. So that is essentially what it means to truly have calendar management, not just at a task, but an actual outcome. The next common task is file management, or just making sure that files are found easily. It's creating a whole system where if I search the word headshot because someone is asking me for a headshot while maybe we're conversing, they might want to promote me as a speaker or something else, that I'm just having a private chat with someone that my assistant will be able to see. If I search the word headshot on our Google Drive, I will find the right headshot right off the bat. That is the ultimate outcome, is whatever it is that you're looking for or the rest of your team might be looking for, it's easy for them to be able to find. If a client success manager of ours is trying to find a client contract, they just search the client name and the word contract, it pops up on the Google Drive. They don't have to dive into Google Drive to find open PDFs or even message my assistant, because they know if they just go into Google Drive and search the client name, the contract, it'll show up. That is the ultimate outcome of file management, is not just having your assistant basically create their own system where it's easy for them to find files, but it's also easy for you to find files and the rest of your team to find those files and keep things going. Next is the task of lead generation, but the ultimate outcome is quality leads coming in. Now, depending on the kind of business that you have, you might be doing some outreach, or you might be just receiving people inbound asking about your services. Now, if you just said to your assistant, hey, just manage these leads, that's just what they'll do, is they'll manage them through. Versus if you set the outcome of making sure only the quality leads are coming in, they're basically, like I said before, on calendar management, my assistant has this list of checklists to see if someone could be a match or not. It's the same thing here. It's basically your assistant is making sure that the people who book or end up booking a call or having a conversation with you or with your sales team, they're generating leads that are qualified, that are actually a match for your business, and that they would be in your business long term. They're not just there for, just one product or what. They're helping you nurture those leads as well. For me, before I hop on a call with anyone, my assistant already has this information packet about this person. She's already stocked them. Again, made sure that they're a good fit, and also gave me talking points to ask them questions during the call. So I'm not just going in blind. I have this information packet that I can study beforehand and make sure that I am prepared for the call. Next is travel management, or trips handle. Basically, for a lot of our clients who have their assistant managing their own travel, from getting to this conference or just having a family vacation, instead of just saying, hey, can you manage my travel? You're saying like, hey, this is the outcome that I want from this travel. I'm going to this conference. I want to find 10 people to talk to. I want to have like 10 different coffee in the morning with them so I can connect with them better. So for your assistant, they're not just booking your flights, they're not just getting your hotel, they're getting a flight that will have you there at the conference on time, whether that's a day before or on the day. They're finding a hotel that makes it easy for you not just to get to the conference, but also to have coffee meetups with these people. And when it comes to you arriving to the airport, there's already car options. So either you rent a car or there's a car called for you, or this is how you can get from the airport to the hotel. And when you're networking, you're doing the conference, she is already highlighting like, hey, I think your target audience are going to be on this and this and this session. Make sure to attend these. And, I've already made sure that I connected with them on LinkedIn, so then we can start, setting up that coffee meetup with you. So again, it's not just about, hey, making sure my flights or whatever is handled. It's basically now the outcome of your trip is personalized to your preferences, to your assistant knowing what it is that you expect the moment that you land and what the experience would be once you're there, and then all the way to when you leave. Next is the task of generating reports or records, and the outcome is basically just data ready. It's the same thing as file management. Is your assistant basically prepares the records or the data that you need, so then it's easy for you to access and read them and make decisions out of them. And that's essentially kind of the ultimate outcome, isn't it? Is that you have data ready for you to be able to to make decisions on what to do moving forward, whether you're making no decision at all, everything looks good, or like, hey, this is now critical, let's switch this, let's make this because of this data. So again, making sure that you are clear about that as well. So for example, for my team, when they're showing me social media statistics or whatever other data that I ask for them, my assistant collates that and makes sure that there are easy flags for me to watch out for, whether this is now the time to make the decision or everything is as it should be and everything is on track. So outlining that with your assistant is going to be a key part here of what are the stats that you care of, what are your own key performance indicators to know that this is a match or not, and what are your own flags to know if this is something that is still supposed to be what's happening or this has now gone wayward. Next is the task of creating assets, templates, whatever it is for your business to actually creating usable assets. That's the ultimate outcome. It's not your assistant creating templates and templates of like your email or how this client asked for this asset one time. It's not that. It's making sure that you have assets that you can use moving forward. So kind of recurring assets is another way that you can think of it. Is your assistant going ahead and creating things that make it easier for you to create repetitive results within your business because you're sending the same template, the same email modified for that person, but it's basically the tried and tested way on how this part of the process looks like, how this part of the system looks like. There's basically assets that capture your business's voice without having to create things from scratch over and over again. Next is the task of customer support, or the outcome of this is your customers are understood. And this is kind of the key thing is sometimes you might not want to always have happy customers because they will have legitimate complaints. They will have things that you didn't anticipate that they would go through. But the key thing here is, or the key outcome is that they feel understood. Every feedback that you get, every question you get, they feel that sense of like, okay, I might not be agreeing with this whole company or this business owner or this coach or consultant that I'm working with, but I feel understood. I feel like they understand where I'm coming from and they're going to be working on solutions for me to get to where I want to be. So that is essentially the ultimate outcome of having your assistant not just take care of tickets, so maybe clients or customers coming in, but they're also making sure that they feel understood of where they're at and how you're the person to help them or work with them. Next is the task of client onboarding, or basically that the client is prepared. And what that means is instead of just saying, oh, just follow these checklists, follow this in this template or this asset, is making sure that on the client side, they are prepared for the service or the product that you are about to give to them, whatever it looks like for your business, is there's that clarity that the client feels that they are prepared to get started. There's not a lot of gaps, there's not a lot of questions because they were onboarded to the point where they know what the next steps are. Next is CRM management, or client relationship management, basically managing your pipeline. The ultimate outcome is the pipeline is up to date. It's making sure that potential clients don't fall through the cracks, new clients are taken care of and onboarded smoothly, and for any clients who are offboarded that they don't have any access to anything else, to basically to follow whatever that checklist looks like, and again making sure that that process goes smoothly. So depending on what your CRM looks like and what that means for you, the ultimate outcome is that it is up to date. Next is the admin task of project management, which basically the ultimate outcome is that the projects are moving. If there's anything that's stuck, if anything that hasn't moved in a while, if there's anything that's just not clear on where it's at, it's for your assistant to make sure that there is some clarity of what this looks like, of what might be blocking it, or what might be needing a little bit of help or needing a little bit of a nudge on there so the projects are moving. Next, when it comes to the task of research, it's making sure that insights are delivered, that there is clarity on what needs to get done next. It's not just giving you a old report of like, here is the top 10 competitors that you have in your business, blah, 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 blah. It's making sure that as they do that research, like, hey, based on the research that I've done, these are the action steps that we need to take to be better than our competitors, to do better for the next year, whatever that looks like for your business. There are basically insights that your assistant delivers. So then again, you can make decisions afterwards. And finally, if you have more of a personal assistant and you want them to take over a lot of the admin tasks of your life, of your day, the outcome is that your day runs smoothly. From making sure that your kids have, someone to pick them up, or your groceries are there on time, tracking your deliveries, making sure that, any anniversaries, birthdays, or anything lined up is taken care of, is making sure that the outcome is that your day runs smoothly, whatever that looks like for you. Now, I hope that gives you guys a lot of clarity of what are the admin tasks that you definitely need to delegate and how to think of them as outcomes, because it will differ depending on the type of business that you have or type of service that you have. But the main point is making that switch over. That way for your assistant, they're not just thinking of tasks as a virtual assistant, they're thinking of outcomes as your executive assistant. And if you're ready for that next step as well, make sure to book a call with me and we'll go through what kind of things you can still keep delegating to your executive assistant. And if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have, maybe tasks that you're thinking of delegating, but you're not sure how to make that more output. I would love to help. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Thursday on how to scale your business, especially with AI and an executive assistant. And if you want your assistant to be better trained, check out my first channel here and check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.